Thanks for joining me on Life in Surround. Today it is my honor to present to you the 30th anniversary edition of a very special album, Road Apples by the Tragically Hip. That honor comes with some sadness in that it recalls yet another great Canadian lyricist taken from us far too young, far too soon, by the terrible brain cancer known as glioblastoma. Of course, the other lyricist I'm referring to is Neil Peart. We lost him in 2020 at the age of 67, and we lost Gord Downie in 2017 at the very young age of 53. As I'm closing in on 53 in not too many years myself, that really strikes the sense of mortality into me. And, well, I'm not going to bemoan the point too much further. I do simply want to extend a thank you to the band and to their label and everyone involved in the production and distribution of their records for deciding to take the Tragically Hip studio recordings into the realm of multi-channel, being the 30th anniversary of Road Apples, and this being a tremendous album. I think it was a great choice, and I want to extend very special thanks to surround immersive mixing engineer Richard Chycki for his very kind and detailed correspondence with me over the last few days. It's always very special for me to be able to interact with people involved in producing, creating the music that I love and enjoy sharing with you all. Often for me, because, I'm not interested in a title unless the music is great most often, and sonically, it needs to not be distracting. And then for me, given that this channel is Life in Surround, the mix needs to be a good or a great surround mix, immersive mix, to really capture my attention and make me feel like it's worth sharing with you. I just want to say up front that I feel that Mr. Chycki has absolutely nailed this mix. I was not intimately familiar with Road Apples before picking up this deluxe set, but I was familiar with a lot of other Hip albums, all the way from their debut through some later stuff like World Container. So I think, if I can speculate into the machinations of my own mind, the title Road Apples probably struck me as maybe a live title, and as I have been collecting their albums over the last several years, perhaps I've been focusing on the studio stuff, and just in my ignorance, I didn't know that Road Apples was their second studio full album. So now I know, and in a way, it's kind of nice the way this passion for surround and immersive music constantly creates these nice surprises that, in hindsight, I think this, if not their strongest album, is definitely one of the Hip's strongest albums. And just a little bit about the deluxe set. I have the 4 CD, 1 Blu-ray version. There's also, I believe, a 5 LP Blu-ray version. They are not cheap. This optical, CD Blu-ray version can be found for between $90 and $100+, and then the vinyl version tends to run a bit more. So, fortunately for me, a surround enthusiast friend of mine didn't really take to this. Wasn't familiar with the Hip and gave it a spin or two, and it just really didn't grab him. He's more of a hard rocker metal type, so he offered it up on a surround enthusiast site that I'm on habitually, and I snatched it up instantly. This Atmos version of the album is also streaming on Apple Music. So for those who just really don't want to or can't foot the bill for the physical deluxe set, you can often subscribe to streaming services for a free trial or a very cheap trial. And I would recommend going ahead and giving this album a whirl. It's not what I would say, is a surround tour de force. It's not Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots with stuff ping-ponging all around the room. But the album really doesn't call for it. And in corresponding with Richard Chycki, he let me know that the band's request was a strong homage to the original mix and not so much a reinterpretation. And then, given the spatial quality of the mansion that the album was originally recorded in, Mr. Chycki set about to recreate that recording room. And if I recall his words, I'm paraphrasing, but to give you the sense that you're standing around the pool table with the band while they're rocking out live. And that's the sort of vibe that he struck to deliver for us, and he absolutely did, in my opinion. It makes my living room sound like I'm in that New Orleans mansion with the band just pounding out these songs when they are at their most bombastic, and really letting the surround mix and the immersive quality of this material and Atmos capability come through and shine on the more delicate songs like Fiddler's Green. So anyway, let me take you through the box real quick. There's not a whole lot to it. Of course, you get the cover here with, I think, probably the original album artwork there in the middle, but I'm not sure. Or maybe this is the original album cover. This is the only version of it that I own, so forgive me. The artwork has been reimagined, so I'm not sure what the original was. This happens to be the Blu-ray, on which you will find 5.1 mix, 7.1 mix, Atmos, and stereo. Mr. Chycki did supply binaural mixes for the album. I haven't had a chance to partake of that version, but that might be the stereo version. If anybody wants to elaborate or clarify in the comments down below, that would be greatly appreciated. You get a booklet with lots of cool stuff in it. I think I'm going to return to that, so I'll just set it to the side for now. You get a poster of the band, which I was pretty excited about. I actually have a spare poster frame and was going to frame this sucker, but it's just a little too big for a 24 by 36 frame, so I couldn't do it without, cutting down the poster or something, and, heaven forbid, I would never do that. And then, sort of in this felt little spacer here, you get the other 4 discs, the 4 CDs. Alright, now on the CDs, you get the album proper, you get an EP, which is called Saskadelphia, I believe. You get a CD of like outtakes and rarities called Hoof-Hearted, which I think may be a play on words for half-hearted, maybe because these are early editions, but Hoof-Hearted, saying it out loud, I realize, sounds like who farted, so... but road apples, that's horse droppings on a road. Oh my god. Well done. Well done, guys. You definitely got me on that title, and that's good times. And then, one of my favorite additions to the set was this live set, 1990, at the Roxy. The band going through material from the first 2 records. And you get some very unique performances, you get some ad-libs, you get some kind of, vamps from Mr. Downie. And fans of the band who were familiar with this tour can go into some length in detail in their descriptions of the material on the tour, and this is a pretty well-renowned show, so I don't think I am overstepping to say that this is a nice addition to the set. It sounds good to me. It sounds rockin' and raw, and like a hungry band, like really confident in what they do and really delivering the goods for those who showed up to support them. So yeah, the Blu-ray, there are no extra bells and whistles. There's no documentary, no video, so to speak. It's a Blu-ray pure audio. You can select the mixes with the color buttons on your player controller. And like I said, the Atmos mix does it for me. If you're familiar with this channel, you'll know, bottom line, I'm not a Richard Chycki fanboy. I have been critical of some of his mixes, but he came recommended to the Tragically Hip because of some of his 5.1 mixing work with Rush. And from the Rush catalog, I can wholeheartedly recommend that you check out Chycki's 5.1 mix of Fly By Night. Absolutely nailed it. In his words, I would say it is a strong homage to the original LP. Some people are pretty critical of Signals, but I really like it. The first half of the album is pretty dense, but the second half is experimental and layered and really comes alive with some surround fun, and I feel like the front half of the album is tastefully done anyway. So yeah, Fly By Night and Signals, Snakes and Arrows live, R.e.m. live, very, very solid. So I can totally understand why Mr. Chycki was recommended to work with the band when they needed to rush, sorry for the pun, that was totally unintended, their last recorded performance to market with a surround mix. It ended up being called A National Celebration. It was their last performance. Gord Downie wanted to say goodbye to his fans. If you are ever able to watch this movie called Long Time Running, Courage, it's basically the story of how Gord received his diagnosis and not wanting to just fade away, I guess. The audience, the people who supported the Hip over the years being his dear family, in a sense. He wanted to bring everyone together and experience the joy and just the magic of performing and that audience band relationship. And they did a final tour, said goodbye to the fans. I absolutely recommend that movie, Courage. Ugh, it guts me every time, but it really does underscore what a special performer, artist, and person Gord was, and just the remarkable feat of this band sticking together all these years. I think they formed in 1984, and all 5 original members were together to the end, up to Gord's death. Now, I believe they rightly have expressed they will not any longer record or perform as the Tragically Hip, but I also believe I read that Gord gave his blessing for them to put together some further material from stuff that he recorded before his passing. So there is some hope that some more Tragically Hip albums could be forthcoming. Let me see. What more is there to say? This book, it's very cool. It's packed with great images, and that really is one of the selling points of this set, I think. Some of these images have never been seen before. I really want to find the one that reminds me of what Richard said, where they're all hanging out in front of the pool table. Well, actually, I think that's where they were recording. But anyway, you get facsimiles of the lyric sheets. You get pictures of the group. You get write-ups from a lot of people involved, including rock legend, producer, A&R guy, actually, A&R man, Bruce Dickinson. You get production notes concerning Don Smith, Mark Vrieken, picture of the master tapes. You guys know I love master tapes. Oh, and there's the pool table. And here's a big, nice picture of it. So this recording environment, this mansion in New Orleans, I believe, you get, you know, memoirs from the guys, including some of the guys giving us some of Gord Downie's memories as they were touring the scary stint that they ran down Highway 666 in the United States. It doesn't exist anymore, but it did for, I think, around 5 or 6 decades. And one fateful stretch of their tour, they ended up on it. Oh yeah, Highway 666 in Arizona, in a Lincoln Continental. Seemed to have struck fear into Gord's soul. Anyway, a very cool book, very cool insights. I like that they included some critiques of the band, probably from this era, and some of them are favorable and some of them are not. You know, so it shows just a humility and willingness to take their lumps and to keep on doing what they're doing. This album, for those who are not aware, is what I would call a blend of like maybe early R.E.M. and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And in fact, it features a guest performance from the Heartbreakers keyboardist. So, you know, I don't want to go too far with, you know, my musical analogies. I would actually prefer to leave that for fans of the hip. You know, you can leave your comments below if you'd like to tell us about the hip's influences and contemporaries. I'm just telling you what I hear. If you are into more of the energetic college band days of R.E.M. and you know, the hard rock in nature and great melodies of Tom Petty, then this album is probably for you. The mix has been knocked out of the park by Mr. Richard Chycki. And again, I just want to thank him for corresponding with me, for giving me some technical details. Like the fact that when you remix an album into surround, you don't always have everything printed down to tape. So he had to recreate a lot of the effects, the ambience of the mansion, being supplied with 24 192 wave files transferred from the analog masters. He had sonic delight to work with, and he really capitalized on that. This album sounds fantastic. It rocks. The mix feels balanced. It feels effective. It drew me into every song. Every arrangement felt just natural and effective, and like I was in the mansion with the band. So, you know, I think that's enough from me concerning this 30th anniversary version of Road Apples by the Tragically Hip. I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget to give a thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe, ring the notification bell, leave any comments that you feel like below. It all helps this channel, and it helps me to get my love of surround and immersive music out to more people, and I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. This one's for you, Gord, and for all the rest of us. I just want to remind you once again to live life in surround.